Here's the deal. Most people don't not train hard because they don't want results. They do, absolutely. It's because real intensity feels wrong. And if you've ever pushed yourself to that point where the weight seems to be moving in slow motion and your muscles are on fire, it becomes really uncomfortable and something in your mind says this isn't right. That's not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's actually a sign you're getting closer to doing something effective. Because here's the truth that most people spend their entire lives training without ever realizing. Real intensity isn't always pleasant. It feels like the sets last forever. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like you should stop. And that's exactly why most people avoid it. Because it's much easier to do more exercises, more sets, more time in the gym, because that feels productive. You leave the gym thinking, I did a lot today. But doing a lot is not the same as doing what's required to make your muscles grow. And over the past 35 years of training and working with hundreds of men and women, I keep seeing the same pattern time and time again. People come to us thinking they train hard. Some of them even accomplished natural bodybuilders and very elite athletes. And they wholeheartedly believe they're training hard until they experience what real intensity feels like. And when they do, it's a shock. Because suddenly, 10 to 15 minutes of training feels harder than anything they've ever done in an hour and a half. Not because it's complicated, not because it's fancy, but because it requires something most people avoid. Going to a place where your body is asked to do something it's not used to doing. But that's what drives progress. Not time, not volume, not chasing a pump, but unaccustomed stimulus taken to the point of overload. And here's where people get it wrong. They think if training at high intensity is so effective, why aren't most people doing it? And the answer is simple. Because your body isn't designed to enjoy overload. It's designed to resist it. The path of least resistance is an instinct built into every single one of us and every single living organism. It's natural. And that discomfort, that hesitation, that voice telling you to stop when things get hard, that's not a warning sign. That's the barrier. That's what I call the separating wall. And the other side of that wall is where adaptation begins and you start realizing your potential. Here's something that you need to understand. It is much easier to add time than it is to add intensity. Anyone can stay in the gym longer. Anyone can do another exercise and another set. And when you're not seeing results, that's what 99.9% of people out there will do. And if you did this, you already know that it doesn't work. But it's just your brain trying to lead you down the path of least resistance because it doesn't want things to change. But very few people can ignore that call to the easier path and push themselves to the point where muscles are truly challenged in a way that they haven't been challenged before. And that's why so many train for years and look exactly the same, because they've built a routine around what feels comfortable, not around what actually creates change. Now, I've worked with men and women in their 50s, their 60s, their 70s, even their 90s. And one of the biggest mistakes they made before coming to me is avoiding intensity, because they were told to take it easy. Don't push too hard. Don't spike your stress levels. Keep your cortisol levels down. And what happens? Years go by with little or no progress until they finally experience what it means to train hard in a controlled, safe, and intelligent way. And then everything changes. Strength improves, muscle mass increases, and that confidence comes back. Not because they trained longer and spent more time in the gym, but because they finally trained with adaptive purpose. Now, I've always lived by the words that to whom much is given, much is expected. And I am one of those fortunate enough to have realized my training goals. And I have decades of experience working with all types of individuals, seeing what works and also seeing what doesn't. And because of that, I feel a very strong responsibility to share this with you, because there's so many people out there wasting years doing what feels right instead of what actually works. And here's another warning sign that you might be on the wrong path and the wrong side of that separating wall. And that's the idea that you aren't trying to be the best bodybuilder in the world, and all you want to do is just put some muscle mass on and make some progress. And as such, you don't need to train that hard because your aspirations are modest. Understand this. The biology of a top natural bodybuilder and the biology of a man or woman who just wants to put a little muscle mass on is the same. I'll say it again. The biology is the same. Physiology doesn't change based on what you want. And the muscles of those who have modest goals and the muscles of those trying to be the greatest of all time respond to exactly the same thing. Unaccustomed stimulus taken to the point of overload. So whether you're getting older and just want to keep your strength as the years go by, or you're focused on creating the most impressive natural physique the world's ever seen, if you don't go to that uncomfortable place, you won't get anywhere. And I know firsthand it's scary. My clients get scared before they train. My training partners get scared before they train. And I am often very scared before I train. But I want to tell you what I tell myself every single time. Be not afraid. Fear isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just a sign that something's about to change and you're about to step into the unknown. But the more you do it, the less fear you feel, and the better you get at pushing yourself above and beyond what you thought was possible. And that's a skill that carries over to every single aspect of your life. As the form of training that to me isn't about looking good, it's a path where that dark and scary place where you're just fighting to get that weight up and every cell in your body is screaming at you to stop, stops being dark. And all of a sudden, being a little uncomfortable isn't that scary. And yes, you will always feel the fear going towards it, but it doesn't stop you because you can see it for what it is. And this is the secret for success in every aspect of your life, going towards what's uncomfortable. And I've yet to see anyone who didn't grow as a person walking this path on a regular basis. So if you take anything from this video, let it be this. If your workouts feel comfortable, if it feels easy to recover from those workouts, and you feel like your training is something you can repeat day after day without hesitation, there's a good chance you're not creating the stimulus required for change. Because real progress doesn't come from what feels right. It comes from what your body isn't prepared to handle. And if you want to learn more about naturally intense, high-intensity training, or you want to train with me and my staff, links are below. But regardless of what you do next, stop chasing what feels productive and start paying attention to what actually produces results. Because I know you have it in you to push through. Thanks so much for tuning in. Know that I truly believe in you. And as always, Excelsior.